This has a really good squeeze look to it. And I see the article here that JP sent over. And I was looking through it a little bit. But anytime you get something like this where you see that low right there, and we have this key range, and it failed to hold below that low, and boom, it comes right back to the middle. Then boom, it comes up here. Then boom, it holds above. It pushes through the top, right to the 100, pulls right back to the top and holds. But it builds, it builds, it builds, and all of these players right here just got, trapped if they're short. And now you're starting to see the beginning of what could be a very significant squeeze. So this could be very, very significant here, just from that perspective. Here's a 5-year look. And in the 5-year look, one thing that we've been talking about is the $3 level and how it continues to be a very major level in the charts. You can see over here, rejection, 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 a little lower, rejection, and all in here. But now this is a push through it and a hold above it. You see the large shoulder, the head, the shoulder. At first I thought, hey, we might see a little bit more action here. But whenever we do get above threes, it could be a quick move up. And the next HVN above is about right there. Let's go ahead and mark that. So whenever you think a commodity or whatever is about to get a big move, I like to look for value, areas of value. So 2.761, that's a 5-year value. I'll go ahead and mark that right here. So duplicate it. 2.761. We'll say CVPOC. Okay. Oops, I forgot to change the color. Alright, there we are. And now up here you have value, and you can call it 365s, 3665, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that one and bring it up to about right here. That's just about 366. And that's going to be MCVPOC. So now we know that if the market has been trading around value, which is 2761 here, it gets above 276 and rallies, and it's taken it bid, then that would imply a price discovery phase to either create new value or to prior value, and prior value is 366. So that gives you a good pathway to find the high probability target here. And that doesn't mean it will be the high. That just means that's a good high probability magnet that the market will want right there to trade at. And then beyond that would be, here's your D-shaped profile. So that's rejection, here's rejection. So you might be able to see a little bit move into 4s, and then that might be too much and you come back down, right? So this is going to be very interesting. Can we stay beyond the 3 to 310 zone? Because if so, this could be very, very interesting. If we fail to hold above 3s, then it's a quick move back to 2.5s. Quick move. So we're right at the pivot, in my opinion. And that'll be something to watch. But that looks like a big squeeze coming, and it's already started really nicely. And based on a 20-year chart, 384, 385, just call it evens, would be a higher HVN as well. So that could be very, very important right there. The next shelf up. So if you look at this really quickly, and then I'll jump on the your stock charts there, JP. This is a 20-year. Okay. So this is a weekly chart with 20 years of history. Down here is $2, right? Here it is. Boom. Here's $2, right? Boom. Here's $2. Got a little bit lower. Now it's coming up. But each time, it hasn't hesitated getting to $6 from 2. Here's 2. There's 6, right? This was almost 2. This was like 2 something, and then 6. This was 2, eventually got to 6. Here's 2, we're at 3. Perhaps we get up to 6. So if we do start to push through this LVN, I mean, there could be longer term implications towards 6. And then, yeah, so there could be big time movement ahead. Look at that expanding coil. Okay, let's take a look here. Here's APC. Here's a weekly chart. Yep. Yeah, there's a nice LVN right there. 60 evens, you can see where it came from. Support, 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 goes offered, comes back to it. Very, very important level. If it can get above it, then yeah, there's an HVN here, or however, yeah, probably where you called it. Looks a little more right. But absolutely, I think it could easily get from where it is, 60 up to 80. On that view right there. It's been going pretty good. It's had a nice little uptrend. Really needs to get through that LVN. And I think it may actually accelerate, but it's been in a very clear uptrend this entire time. It's just been kind of lazy. Lazy uptrend. Let's look at, so that's APC. Above that LVN zoomed it, CNX. I was looking at this one recently, Console Energy. This one's still strong. Oh, this is one of the ones we had, I think, on our list, wasn't it? I don't remember. What I like about this one is right here. So you get the impulse move down, boom. And then right here you have your big day, your digestion day. Stops get run through that day like this, then here's the hold, and then it shoots off. Sorry. CNX. So this one's not bad. I like that impulse range right there. I'm gonna mark it. It's a good one. High. What's the high here? 1976. The low 1541. We just hit the midpoint today, 1758. So we just got to the midpoint. So you can see what's happening right now. Very clear uptrend. This has been trending for some time. Very nice clear channel. We're toward the bottom end of the channel. I think we squeezed to the top, and you can kind of see a little bit of that expanding thing that we got going on. So this one right here could easily, on the short term, it needs to stay above 16s, which it is. I think it could get you to 22s. That's very short term. But this nat gas deal is on a bigger time frame. And TOS is showing it at 34.78 as the 5 year, this is a 20 year, which goes through all of that jazz right there. So I'm going to mark that right here. 34.78. All right, there we are. And there's another HVN, very similar to that last one we were talking, LVN right there, and that's $20. So right here you got 20 bucks at the beginning of that LVN. Goes as high as 26. Right, down here, this is what you would call that kurtosis, right? That's kurtosis on this lows. Major push out that way. Boom, they squeezed. And now it's working its way up. So yeah, above that zone, I think easily targets the midpoint of that range. And again, very similar. You have kind of this thing here. You may get to that right away, but eventually over time, you may work your way up a little higher into that zone toward 44 to 46. So this one has really, really nice potential to get back to value. Oh, cool. Very cool. 26s, that's key support right there. It's on the market. Let's see, right here, 26 is about right there or so. Let's drop that off. Let's do that. There's 26s. That's going to be important. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this one as well. I think short term looks really, really nice. You're starting the beginning phase of a squeeze to new highs, and I think that it easily takes you into 20. If you start getting beyond 20, 21, I mean, that's when you start squeezing perhaps into 26. You can see all of the LVN right there. So all of that is ill-traded from here to here. So oftentimes, if you form a distribution, remember, a clean price distribution takes you like this, right? Where you're trending up and you form a distribution right here. Then you break it to the upside and you have to hold the top of that range. But before you do that, you find the top and you say, okay, that's our range. And you stay above this one. And then when you break above the top, you go higher until you find the top of that range, and then you come down and you trade, right? It dipped a little bit below, but it's coming back above. So now if it were to break above, remember, this is ill-auctioned prices. So the market needs to re-auction those prices. So if price pushes through this top, remember, it needs to go up and find a high and then come back and start to fill in some of this zone. Create another price distribution before it goes again, perhaps. So if we push up through here, if it can hold above 20, and that's the real breakout, which we don't know if that's it at that time, then you're likely going to see a continuation higher, some measured distance, probably 4 points, 20 to 24. Once it finds a high, it'll probably come back to 20, and then you can defend and continue to defend off that zone until it finally goes. But that's just what's happening. So you have to kind of follow the pattern here, what's going on. But I do think that this right here bodes well for at least a test at new highs. Whether that means another return or a continuation, we'll see at that point. Oops, GPOR. Here's GPOR, that's Gulf Point. This one's chopping around value right now. This one doesn't seem as bullish as some of the others. You have 2962 as composite VPOC. That's a 5-year chart. And that's just where we're trading basically over the last year and a half. So price level 2962. All right, there we are. So 2962. It's definitely coiling. It's definitely coiling. Right now, I still think it's stuck in its range here, which is that's the D-shaped profile. So that's the edge. That's the edge. So up here, overbought prices. Down here, undersold or oversold, overbought, oversold. And then right here in the middle, that's where everybody wants it. That's where everybody's trading it. So that's just kind of the range right now. I think overall this thing continues to trade in this range, but you're toward the lower end down here. So it could be, if this thing comes down into this 24 zone, 24, 25, that could be a great short-term buy back to 30, this 29.62, and that could, perhaps start you off. And if it catches fire along the rest of the sector or that industry group, it could be very, very nice. But right now we're just in a balanced profile in this one, and I would say a move toward this LVN offers the best opportunity to defend and buy. Here's RRC. Yeah, RRC also trading around value, just below it right now. Is stepping higher. You can see right here there was a failed new low. Immediately rejected, impulse move, a pullback, and then that started the advance. So this key range right here was the key range that sparked the trend reversal from a downtrend to the uptrend. After we saw the big push up and it pushed through this zone, we're now holding completely above that zone, and we're at the lower end of that range now. So if this is going to continue higher, bulls really like this area, especially because it's below composite VPOC. So bulls would like to be in at this zone because your risk is lower down here because you don't have to hold a white stop. And then you could have potentially some room to run within the range and have taken some profits. And then should it see expansion through the top, then you know exactly what will happen, right? It'll rally, it'll find that high, it'll come back, and it'll start to trade completely above this range and form some sort of range. So you would look to extend that move like so. So right now it's in a zone that is on short-term support. You would call it somewhere between 36 and 37 on where bulls want to be defending for a shot higher. And if there's any failure to hold 36s, then you probably drop back toward 32 and maybe even a little lower. So it could be very significant. So that's kind of the zone to watch. Rice is next. Rice Energy, very bullish. This has the pattern that we talked about last week, which is one of my just favorite major turning points in a chart, is when you've been dropping like crazy and then you end up forming a very, very clear box on these lows because these bears don't get paid on these lows. Eventually, the stops come out, the retest occurs, and you see a move back to the original price point of which you sold off. And that could be, that's huge because not only do you have very clear decision-making zones on where to enter, where it should defend, blah, blah, blah. You have a very clear target as well, where has a high probability to be reached. So you can, if you can scale out of that first portion, you can hold the rest, or you can do whatever you need to do to get there. But this is just one of my favorites. So this has been super bullish. Pullbacks have been defended at LVNs, right? That's just what happens. Right now we're kind of at the upper end of a short-term range, and this thing's kind of known to do this. So short-term, so fun fave, yeah, I can see why, especially if people got in early. But right here, I think we're in another range. So while we're at the highs here, I think we may rotate a couple bits and then see if they can extend it. So short term, very, very bullish here. Let me look at the weekly chart here. From a weekly perspective, this company's rather young. It's only not even 3 full years old here in terms of IPO. So if I'm reading that right, yeah, I think so. So this right here shows us that's value, that's bottom of value, that's top of value. So we might be getting overdone in this one above 29. Above 29, you probably start to see some profit taking. And if there's any rejection and a failure to hold or maintain acceptance above 29s, you will see price come right back to value. So this one might be getting long in the tooth in terms of the move. I think you might have another leg higher. When you do, I think be watching for signs of distribution, rejection, any of those, failed range expansion, because that could be an easy play right back to 2186. So yeah, CNX looked really nice. CNX. This one has some good potential. Short term, I like this one because it has potential not only as a swing trade, you could get paid over the next 3 to 5 days, but it also has potential longer term as well. And I think if you're looking for something with longer term positions, you want to be able to have a short term benefit as well, so that you can get enough to scale or whatever you want, and then you can hold the rest. So I really like that one. That's a good one. And then the APC here. Yeah, the APC had that nice little LVN there at 60. Very, very clear level. And again, this one, if it does push through that zone, has more upside here toward 80. And then, you know, you had 83. There's 78s here up to about 80. So that's a good zone as well. And it really, but 60 is such a clear zone here. You know, that is the point. So it could still fail and pull back before it goes. So just keep that in mind. That's the pivot to watch. Thanks for bringing some of those candidates to the forefront there, and we'll see how those play out.